Metroid Prime Federation Force was developed by Next Level Games. Now, this is probably going to be the controversial video because I actually will go deep. I probably will have to make more videos talking about this in the future because this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, right? Federation Force is a great game, okay? Federation Force is a spectacular first-person shooter, online first-person shooter with co-op elements, like teaming up with a bunch of bros, going on adventures, fighting aliens, accomplishing all these objectives is incredibly fun. I adore this game. This was the breath of fresh air Metroid Prime needed. It really solidified how multiplayer Metroid could work in the future. It was a necessary spinoff. It expanded the Metroid universe to include more heroes, the Federation Force. And it introduced new concepts, new ideas, like new mechanics, great boss fights. There's so much to like about Federation Force. It's honestly kind of hard to recall just how controversial this game is. Like probably the single most controversial video game announcement of the past decade. Like I cannot remember a single game receiving as much ire as Federation Force did when it first came out. And even back then, I was looking at this thing, as a real Metroid fan, saying, this looks fucking awesome. And when the game came out, when I was playing it online, when I was experiencing it for the first time, my opinion was affirmed, okay? This game well exceeded my expectations. It was everything that I would have wanted from a multiplayer Metroid game, right? Great level design, great combat, great situations, great mission design. Honestly, the only real problem it had, the same problem that Triforce Heroes had, is that people typically just played through the game at launch and then sort of dropped it. The thing with Nintendo Online games is they don't seem to have a lot of the ones on 3DS didn't seem to have whole lot of longevity. So people didn't really stick with this game too well. Not because it was bad, as anyone who actually went on Miiverse could tell you, but because it was structured rather like a single-player game. There was no real incentive to go back and play through it again. They really need to figure that out with a sequel, I would think, is that, okay, how do you keep an online player base going? And I think a big part of it would just be just sell more copies. But I do think they need to rethink their mission design philosophy, because, they do this thing where it's okay, you can do 3 missions at a time. You can choose the first 3 missions, then when you beat all of those, you go on to the next 3 missions, and sort of like that. Sometimes you have to fight a boss. I don't know. They're gonna have to find a way to make replaying stages interesting, because for me personally, I didn't really care to replay it all that much. Not because they weren't fun, but it was a situation well, if I already beat the level once with a bunch of people, why would I go back and do it again? It's just that kind of game. So for me personally, right, I would love a Federation Force HD or a sequel, right? Next Level Games did a great job with the original. It had a lot of great ideas, a lot of great concepts, a lot of great features. This was something that I was very, very impressed with, right? This is something I liked a lot, and I did see sequel potential in it. I did think that, yeah, if they really expand this idea, if they really keep going in on multiplayer Metroid, this could be a big thing. This could be the moment where Metroid truly becomes the Halo killer that it really should have been in 2002 with the release of Metroid Prime, which, again, is way more beautiful, way more interesting, and way more fun than Halo Combat Evolved. There's just no getting around it. Unless you're someone who only cares about the multiplayer, there's no real debate. There's there's no real comparison. Metroid is better. Now, okay, so yeah, what could they do with this hypothetical sequel? I don't know. Tie it in with Metroid Prime 4? I don't know. I suppose like Next Level Games could also do a good job making a 2D Metroid, but then like Mercury Steam did a pretty good job of that with Samus Returns. I don't know. Like there's all sorts of things they can do with his IP, right? Like again, I can't emphasize this enough. Like Next Level Games is an extremely versatile studio, right? We've talked about like sports, we talked about like Punch Out, we talked about first person shooters, we talked about like Luigi's Mansion. Like they've done a lot of stuff. Really, the sky is the limit with this team, and really, when you get right down to it, they can do anything.